Today, an all-new Dr. Phil. She wants her daughter back.
You have had her for the past 2 years!
But her mom's not letting go.
She's not a fit mother, in my view.
I'm not sure you're qualified to make that determination.
America's most watched talk show.
You are responsible for that demon!
Stop it. This is the circus I don't want.
I don't care how you
Dr.
feel.
Phil, I don't want her to keep interrupting me.
She's not my daughter. I can't tell her what to do. Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
I hate to see people suffering, and you've heard long enough.
Stand by, Dr. Phil.
Wilson, take
I'm going to get you the help that you need.
5, 4.
This is going to be a changing day in your life.
Go, Dr. Phil.
Thank you very much. All right, take a look at adorable little Desiree. Who would not want to call this smiling face their very own? Well, not only does the baby's mother want her, but so does the baby's grandmother. Now, Mom Rebecca and Grandma Deborah have been in a brutal custody battle for the last 3.5 years over this tiny girl. Rebecca says it is a shocking betrayal that she never saw coming. She accuses her mother of duping her and then stealing and hiding her daughter for 3 months. Take a look.
When Desiree was just 1 year old, my birth mother, Deborah, came to me and said, "Let me help you. That's what family's for." I was really overwhelmed with postpartum depression, but Deborah convinced me that that was okay. A couple months afterwards, Deborah came to me and said she needed me to fill out some documents for immunizations. So I went to the doctor and I filled out paperwork. A few months afterwards, she demanded that I sign a paper and have it notarized that said she had temporary legal guardianship to take care of Desiree's needs. A month or so after, Deborah said that that wasn't good enough. I started to get a little bit hesitant because I had already signed documents. I didn't understand why she needed something from the court. However, she says she's doing this in Desiree's best interest. The following winter, I told her it's time for Desiree to be home, and she said to me, "You are using Desiree to hurt me." And I said, "No, I am not." And then she says to me, "Well, prove it by letting me take Desiree with me." I caved. I woke Desiree up, put shoes on her feet, and I handed her back to Deborah again. That was the last time I saw Desiree for months. I went insane. I called the police. Then all of a sudden, Deborah pulls out this legal guardianship paperwork, and then they say to me that it's a civil issue. I have to take it to court. I cussed her out. She kidnapped my daughter. A couple weeks later, I get a notice in the mail that I was being sued for custody of Desiree. I was livid because I had already said to the woman that I was not going to cooperate with her getting legal custody of Desiree. It was out of the question at this point. I was ready and I was willing to parent my daughter. I wanted her home. Deborah has not seen the inside of my home in 4 years. I have no personal relationship with Deborah now. There is no possibility of having a relationship with this person as mother and daughter. That is dead.
Well, Mother Deborah says no, 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 no. She says Rebecca knew the plan all along and willingly signed over legal custody to her.
The reason I got involved with Desiree was because Rebecca rejected her. She's refusing to do what's necessary to be a good mom. She sends Desiree home with rashes, ear infections, anxiety. Rebecca wanted help with both of her children, and when it came to Desiree, she asked me to continue to keep her full-time. Rebecca had no room set up for her, she had no bed for her, she had no toys, no clothes, she had nothing. I get a phone call from Rebecca that said, "If you don't come and get her, I'm going to leave her with a stranger and you won't know what's going on with her." She was adamant, "I can't keep Desiree. I cannot keep her, you have to." And that's when I said, "You're gonna have to give me a notarized statement giving me legal guardianship because this can't continue to happen." My relationship with Rebecca has become very volatile, hostile, and explosive. And it wasn't that way until after the court custody case got nasty. We cannot have a conversation without it exploding into personal insults and accusations. She will call me a bitch, or I'm an liar, or whatever she feels compelled to say at the moment.
Okay, so you're the grandmother, you're the mother. This is her biological child. She says, I am ready, willing, and able to raise this child, take care of this child, has 2 other children that she's raising and taking care of her. So why not return this child to its biological mother?
Because she rejected her, and at some point...
That was then, this is now. Why would you not give her biological child back to her?
In July of 2010, that was the third time she said no to taking her child back. I drew a line in the sand. At that point, my focus went from trying to help my biological daughter learn to bond with her child to what's in the best interest of the child. She's not a fit mother, in my view.
Are you an unfit mother? She said you're not a fit mother.
I am certainly not an unfit mother. I am a mother of 3 children. The only one who is unhappy is Desiree.
The only one that's been rejected is Desiree.
I have never rejected Desiree.
You said that you had postpartum depression.
Yes.
Was it diagnosed? Or was this something you just recognized?
It was something that I recognized because it had been diagnosed before.
Okay. Did you seek treatment at that time?
I was afraid that they were going to put me on meds, and I really didn't want to go on meds, so no, it went untreated.
You gave your child over to your mother. Now,
that wasn't the intent.
Well, but now wait a minute. You said you were tricked, but you signed papers not once, not twice, but 3 times. I've read the paper, and it says very clearly that you're assigning guardianship until she is 18 years old. How is that a trick?
That was a petition.
This was a short document with a clear statement.
The paper that I signed was the back page of a petition. I didn't know what she had filled out on that petition.
You didn't
I didn't
read
know
what you signed?
All I had was the back page.
Well,
the part where I signed.
But you knew there was more to it.
I didn't know. The back page said, I allow her to look after her, or the legal guardianship, because that's what she said she needed in order for the doctors to be able to recognize her ability to take her, for her to be able to sign immunizations.
Well, here's one thing you said. This is on the 2nd of July of 2010. To whom it may concern, I, Rebecca, grant legal guardianship of my daughter Des over to my mother Deborah indefinitely unless otherwise discussed and agreed in writing. This is signed by the 2 of you, and it's notarized. But you knowingly signed a paper signing over guardianship of your child to someone else, correct?
Yes. She said that's what she needed for Desiree's medical needs.
But how is that a trick?
She came to me and said that she needed something for the doctor's office so she can take care of Desiree's medical needs.
You signed multiple things. This wasn't just like you had a bad day, were in a hurry, didn't get it. Then there was a final order in November of 10. The appointment of a guardian is necessary because the minor child's mother states that she is unable to care for the child. The child's mother has been unable to adequately meet the minor child's developmental needs. The minor child's mother has asked for and believes it is in the child's best interest to be cared for by her maternal grandmother. The guardian shall remain legally responsible for the minor child until her 18th birthday unless this court modifies or terminates this order.
And that is the petition that she filed. All those things that says that I state this, she actually wrote that in the petition. I did not. That petition, the only page I signed was the last page. The only page I saw was the last page. She said, I've got everything else, don't worry about it. Yeah, all it says was that she was going to be the legal guardian because, again, she told me that what we notarized wasn't good enough for the doctor's office.
Rebecca says she named her daughter Desiree in honor of a child her mother lost to SIDS. She says what started as a heartfelt gesture has actually driven the women apart. Take a look.
Desiree was named after a daughter that Deborah had that she lost.
Rebecca kept asking me repeatedly if she could use the name of my deceased daughter as a name for her baby.
I felt that it would be a good tribute to name my child after her. Deborah was there from birth. She also cut her umbilical cord.
When the custody issue became nasty, one of the first things that Rebecca said to me was, Desiree Starr is my daughter. Desiree Michelle is dead. Get over it. That was very spiteful and unnecessary.
It does seem surreal to me that Deborah has such a significant attachment to only one of my daughters, who just happens to share a name of a child that she had that passed away years before.
So you intended this to honor, to recognize, to acknowledge this child that was lost?
Yeah, shortly before Desiree was born, I felt Deborah and I were bonding together. I was about to have a baby. I was coming out of a bad situation, and I asked her permission. I asked her if she would be okay if I named my daughter that I was about to have.
Did you say to her, Desiree Starr is my daughter and Desiree Michelle is dead, get over it?
I don't recall, but it's probable that I said that, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be a little harsh, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
All right, well, there's a lot more to this story. Next, was Deborah's 4-year-old daughter molested by her older sister? And the lie Rebecca says she caught her mom in. We'll talk about those two things when we come back.
She described me as spiteful, deceitful, hateful.
I am not critical of Rebecca. I just expect her to do what's necessary, and she's refusing.
I hate people like that.
Tomorrow on an all-new Dr. Phil. She claims she was violated at a party.
I came to with a boy on top of me.
Her mom went to the media.
She's saying that you got swept up in all the attention.
Now,
You are insane. You are freaking crazy.
You were going to have this great chance to punk me on Dr. Phil.
accusations will fly.
She says the two of you handcuffed her to the bed.
Absolutely not.
Did you lock her in a room?
America's most watched talk show. That's tomorrow.
Deborah explained to me that Desiree said my oldest daughter put a stick inside Desiree. Deborah was concerned because she considered that sexual abuse. I assured her that I would look into it. The doctors said there was nothing conclusive. My gut tells me that these allegations are foolish attempts to try to determine me unfit in supervising my children.
You think there was molestation?
I say sexual trauma. I do not believe that it was a molestation intent. I think it was simply that they were being unsupervised.
Well, Rebecca says you reported molestation to CPS in September of 2012.
I reported sexual trauma in October of 2012 because that's what I considered it.
Why did you report it? Did you think
Because
that...
it was the third time something sexually or inappropriate touching had happened between the two girls.
Produce me the
No one
reports,
has
the
ever
accurate
said-
reports that says very specifically that Desiree suffered sexual trauma.
Tell
You
me a
give me
report
those
that
reports
says it
because there
didn't.
is none. There is none, Deborah. There is none. It's all in your head. I have had my oldest daughter looked at by a doctor. I've investigated. I've asked all the right questions. Because this woman
I
told me it
didn't
happened
say-
to me when I was younger, which was a lie too. And so I did a lot of looking into that.
Well, it was reported
And my oldest
by
daughter
an
never
anonymous
said-
source that Desiree had been touching herself in the bathtub with a toy rabbit and said that her sister Aurora Kay had taught her this. There are no specific allegations of child abuse or neglect by the caregiver, so this agency is not conducting a formal investigation into this report. That's what the agency
Yeah, they
found.
said
And
there's
this
no...
report, that letter was 10 months prior to this final incident that I was talking about. So that means that something else had already been going on. This was just something additional.
No, that means what they said is there's nothing going on here. If you have a concern,
I'm
take them to
glad
the
you
doctor.
think that it's not true, Rebecca, but it is. I'm sorry.
It's not true, Deborah.
I know you would like it to not be true.
My God.
You deny everything, and I'm sorry, but that's just
No, see,
not
when you
reality.
presented me with the concern about the inappropriate touching, I heard you.
There was an acute illness visit at that point, and the physical findings, genitalia, external labia minora, was basically red.
Well, there was a little bit of blood in the urine, too.
There was
No, there
erythemia, there were no abrasions, there was no report. The assessment was UTI and keratosis pilaris. So,
Which, by the way, you can get blood in the urinary tract if you have a urinary tract infection. So keep dreaming.
to have been any damage done or any physical evidence of what was reported to have happened.
The thing is I didn't say it was a severe situation. I said that it was a trauma situation. Not
If
only
there was
did
trauma, it would say
Please
trauma
let me
has been
talk.
found. No. If there was trauma in the description of what you say took place, there would be abrasions. There would be blood on the outside.
You sabotaged every effort I tried
No,
to
I
make.
did not. No, I do not.
Can I finish
no,
my
I do not.
sentence?
That is a copy of the report that the doctor provided. I wasn't even at that
Because you
appointment.
say it, Rebecca,
I
doesn't
didn't
mean
even
it's
know
true.
about that appointment until I went to the
She has
doctor.
sabotaged every effort I have made to get a forensic evaluation of that situation. She, in a doctor's office, Desiree flat out told her, Sissy can't hurt me ever, ever, ever anymore again. And she repeatedly said that. Every time she talked to her sister, every time she talked to her mother,
Oh
she
my
said
God.
that. It's obvious that
Whatever.
you're trying to cover something up because you're not interested in
No,
letting me
I am
tell
so
anything.
angry with you. I am so angry with you.
Imagine how I feel.
I don't care how you feel at this point, Deborah. You took advantage of me. You are ruining my daughter. Do you have any idea how much pain she has from you? I didn't have her for the past 2 years. And you're saying all this pain is from me? You are out of your mind. You are responsible for that. Stop subjecting her to a world that
Why
should
did
not
she
exist
come
to
back
her.
this week with a mark on her? It looks like she got scratched with something.
That-
Every
are
week she
you
comes
serious?
back. Every time she comes back,
Are you
she comes
serious?
back with a
She's
problem.
4 years old. She's an outdoor child. She loves to play. She tricked.
Are you implying that she is being abused by her?
I'm implying that she's being neglected by her. Not abused, neglected.
Okay, well, you're saying
She's
she
not-
has marks on her here. She has redness. She has rash. Are you, and she's just there for a
Abused?
short period of time.
A week.
How does that happen?
How does that happen?
Yeah,
Okay,
how did
how are
that
you
happen?
thinking that happens?
Neglect. Appropriate bathing, hygiene stuff that's taken care of. And so that's what
Yet
brought
she
her.
hasn't been inside my home for 4 years. She hasn't seen me interact in my home with my children in 4 years. So how the heck would you know that? You don't know that. It is your belief. It is your assumption. And I understand. Here's what I
Dr.
understand.
Phil, I know
I
that-
understand that you believe this.
We always ask our guests when they come on here, no matter what else happens, bottom line, what question do you want Dr. Phil to answer for you? Neither one of you referenced how to determine or ascertain what is in the best interest of this child. Neither one of you addressed in any way what you could do or learn or change to make this child's course through life better. Neither one of you asked that. You ask, is this battle with my mother normal? That's your big question that you have for me. Yours is, how can I tell her to do better with something or tell her things are not right without triggering her? She takes everything personally and as an insult. That's your question for me. Not a thing about the child or this child's best interest. And you're right. I am trained as a forensic psychologist. And what this says and does not say speaks volumes to me about both of you. Next, what people might not realize is that Deborah placed Rebecca for adoption when she was a baby. We'll talk about that when we come back.
The day before my adoptive family put me in foster care, I went up to my adoptive mother. She looked at me and said, "No, Rebecca, you're not my child. You were adopted." She explained to me who Deborah was. I wanted to talk to her. I wanted to learn and know about my birth mother.
Tomorrow on an all-new Dr. Phil, she claims she was violated at a party.
I came to with a boy on top of me.
Her mom went to the media.
She's saying that you got swept up in all the attention.
Now,
You are insane. You are freaking crazy.
You were going to have this great chance to punk me on Dr. Phil?
accusations will fly.
She says the two of you handcuffed her to the bed.
Absolutely not.
Did you lock her in a room?
America's most watched talk show. That's tomorrow.
She seriously tried to play me. She wrote me this letter about how sometimes the best thing is to just let go of your kids when she's speaking from her experience. Well, this woman didn't raise her kids. She put us all up for adoption. So how can she sit there and tell me, when I have no interest in letting go of any of my children, that sometimes it's the best thing to let go?
Rebecca says it wasn't easy being adopted. She moved from foster home to foster home and was finally reunited with Deborah at age 16. Take a look.
Between my birth and my emancipation from foster care, I was in over 30 foster homes and group homes. I was put up for adoption when I was 18 months old. When I was 8, they put me back into the foster care system. The day before my adoptive family put me in foster care, I went up to my adoptive mother. She looked at me and said, "No, Rebecca, you're not my child. You were adopted." And she pulled out photographs of my father and my mother, Deborah, and she explained to me who Deborah was, and the picture that she showed me was actually the picture of Deborah pregnant with me. I wanted to talk to her. I wanted to learn and know about my birth mother. And so when I was 11, my caseworker came to me and said, "We know where she is, and we're going to let you write to her."
Now, you said that she hid your daughter from you for 3 months, that she kidnapped her, that she stole away with her, correct?
Yes.
She has legal guardianship of her.
I told her, you know, I'm ready. I want Desiree to just be home now. And she says to me, "No, Rebecca, please don't do this to me. Please don't do this to me. I'm on my way. I'm going to come get her." Well, no, she's asleep.
What's your point in telling me this?
My apologies.
No, that's a question. Answer it. What's your point in telling me this?
She took her, and I didn't get to see her for months.
What
and I
is
didn't...
your point in telling me this? What effect are you wanting to have on me by telling me this? What's your point? What are you trying to impress upon me? What is it you want me to get?
My frustration with... I'm not sure what you mean. I'm sorry.
Can I say something, Dr. Phil?
If it's relevant, and if it's not, I'll stop you, because I am really, really concerned about both of your agendas. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I
Give
feel
it a
like,
shot.
okay, well, my intention with Desiree from the very beginning was to help her mom bond with her. And when that wasn't occurring, then it became the best interest of the child. But, you know, I know that Rebecca when she was adopted, that she was placed back in foster care, and I was in touch with counselors who tried to help her after that. I don't blame Rebecca for what she struggles with to this day, because I know how her child...
I struggle with you.
Please be quiet,
I don't
Rebecca.
struggle with anything else.
I know why she struggles, and I completely have a lot of compassion for that, and that's why, as a mother, I stuck with her and tried to help her bond with her child and did whatever I could. And, you know, I totally... You know,
how do you
that's
know
why
how to bond
when
with children? You didn't raise
when
yours.
I came on the show, what my intention was to do was to, because I know we have this custody battle, and when we walk away from you, Dr. Phil, we have to try to deal with this and face this on our own, just the two of us. I wanted to know, with your professional experience, because it's vast, and because you're obviously very quick at giving advice based on whatever you can evaluate it very quickly. And so what can I do to help communicate my concerns to her without triggering her? Because I really care about being able to communicate with her. And everyone that's a part of this case, that's what their issue is too. If you guys could just communicate with each other.
That's what you can do.
But that's not going to happen. That's not what I believe is in Desiree's best interest. That's what many people who are in Desiree's life believe as well.
No, that's not what they believe. That's not what they believe.
Contrary to what anybody else, any kind of, well, anyway, contrary to what Rebecca is saying, that's not, to me, that's not in her best interest.
I have multiple professionals say I have great family dynamics and great family stability in my home.
So from you, I
my
just
kids
really
are great
want
and
to
they are
know
well behaved and they
what is
they
the
are
way that I can
so
start with
smart.
trying to communicate.
Well, I think I'm going to tell you both what I think, and then we're
that's
done
what
here, because I
everyone
think
says.
you've wasted your time and mine. How many children did you have?
I have 4 children that are alive, and I have a child that was deceased.
And she has a child that was adopted when she was 15.
She's grasping at straws.
Did you lie to me about that, or are you going to lie to him?
How many children did you have?
I have the...
She's
Pardon?
had 6 children. Altogether.
I have 4 children.
6 children.
One of the, and plus one.
She had a
deceased.
child when she was 15 that was put up for adoption. Her baby passed away, and then she had 4 others.
I had 4 children.
Is that true?
Were alive. And
Is what
then
she said true?
she's grasping at straws about
No,
my
I'm
child.
not.
my
That
I'm just
child
asking, is the number correct?
I said I have 4 children that are alive, and I have a child that was deceased.
And she has a child that was adopted when she was 15. Taken by the state, she told me.
She's talking about my childhood, and my childhood, there's no real...
Was there a child? There was a child. You told me there was a child.
I think you're grasping at straws and trying to create...
Is it
something
true or
that's
is it not? Did you lie to me about that, or are you going to lie to him?
I'm just curious.
I have 4 children, and then I have one that's deceased.
Right. So you did not have one earlier that you placed for adoption, which may have been the right thing to do. I'm not criticizing if you did.
I have no other children. I have 4 children, and I have a deceased child.
Okay. All right. So she's lying.
She's grasping at straws.
Am I lying?
She's grasping
Am
at
I
straws
lying?
to try to bring in a childhood, whatever child things.
I'm not
things
wanting to bring up your childhood. He asked you about how many kids you had. It's not
I have
about your
4
childhood.
children.
And how many of those children did you raise?
I have 4 children, and her and her 2 sisters had the same father, so they were adopted by the same family. And there were a lot of factors
How many
that
of them
went
did
into
you
that.
raise?
And I raised my son.
No, you didn't. He came to you when he was in high school.
Rebecca,
You sent him to his father. He told me that too,
I'm glad
as
you're
well as
such,
you did.
I'm so glad you're so knowledgeable about my.
So you had 4 children, and she says that you raised none of them.
I raised my son, though.
From high school on.
So you
That's
adopted.
You're
you
welcome
placed
to
3.
believe her if you'd like.
No, I'm asking you. I'm not even paying attention to her. I'm looking at you and asking you. And you know, I'm interested not only in the answer to the question, but whether or not you're willing to be honest with me about it. Because
Well, my son,
having
I
been
raised my
trained as a
son.
forensic psychologist, I hear what's said and what isn't said as well. And the same thing
That's
is going to
why
be true. The same thing is going to be true when the court does a study and makes a determination about this. And trust me, they'll watch this show and they'll watch this conversation and they'll make a determination as to whether you're being honest or not.
And I'm okay with that, Dr. Phil.
So
I really
I'm just
am.
asking you.
I raised my son.
You placed 3. You had 4 children that are alive. You say.
Correct.
One that was deceased. Sorry for
Correct.
your loss about that. And one that's a straw grasping thing that we're not talking.
I don't have one that's a straw grasping thing.
That we're talking about.
That wasn't a fair comment.
But you did raise your son. You did raise your son.
I did raise my son.
The other 3 that are alive, you placed for adoption.
Correct.
Okay. And so I'm curious if you're clinging to this child because you're wanting a second chance.
I know you are, but that's not true.
I'm not saying you are. I'm just asking.
You said curious. I said I know you are.
Have you considered that?
Yes, I have.
I'm looking at motives here, and I'm trying to determine whether or not there is some basis for you two ever cooperating and collaborating here. You said, how can I communicate with her where I don't trigger her? Well, you said she's an unfit mother. Mm-hmm. She has 2 other children.
So how do you communicate with unfit mothers without triggering them?
Well, it might be the pot calling the kettle black. I don't know.
Unfortunately, you don't live it, Dr. Phil. So
No, I
if you
don't.
were living in my environment every day, you would see.
That's okay.
If you were living in my environment, you would see. If you came and saw my environment,
Rebecca.
or the girls' environment, you would see. But you don't
Rebecca,
want
I
to step
didn't
in
want to
there.
come on this show to dog you. That was not my intention.
It's not my intention
The only
either.
reason that you have your 2 children in your house now is because you have a husband who is paternal. You are absolutely not
Really paternal?
I am very sorry, but you know what? You do not have a bonding bone in your body. Nate is the person that is bonding.
And you know why that is? Because
And you know
I
what,
never
Dr.
got
Phil?
raised
This
by
is the
you.
circus I don't want.
If that's your accusation,
You can either stop the circus from happening, or we can just let it go, because I really did not want to do this. I don't want to hurt her. My goal is not to hurt her. I am not interested in
My
this.
point
it
is,
is
hold it,
personal.
hold it, hold
Well,
it, hold
but
it,
you
hold
know
it.
what?
coming at me personally.
Hold it.
Sorry.
Oh my gosh.
you can't choose to unplug if you don't like the questions.
Stop it. 2010.
Dr. Phil, would you please let me talk? I don't want her to keep interrupting.
Well, she's not my daughter.
I think you're really cutting me off and not giving me credit for what I have done.
Tomorrow on an all-new Dr. Phil, when mother and daughter face off.
She says you handcuffed her to the bed.
Absolutely not.
Accusations will fly.
What have you done that she will not tell you where she lives?
That's tomorrow.
My point is, you are being judgmental. You are being critical.
What's judgmental?
And we often, when you say she is an unfit mother,
well, but
I'm not sure you're really qualified to make that determination.
I don't think.
Seriously, I'm not.
Well, but that's because
I'm
you
not
don't
because
live it
I don't
every
have the
day.
history.
Exactly.
But it just seems really ironic to me when you say you don't have a bonding bone in your body. Well, at 18 months, you placed her for adoption. She wound up in 30 foster homes across time where every attachment she had was breached. Then the next attachment breached. The next attachment breached.
Absolutely.
And the first link in that chain, lady, was you.
It was. You're absolutely
and so and then you say you don't know how to make an attachment. What you should be saying is, I am so very sorry that a choice that I made subjected you to a lifetime of broken attachments and broken relationships, and now I want to figure out how I can help you to fill that void, how I can help you to do what needs to be done.
I've done that. That's why I had
March
her.
2010 to July 2010.
Dr. Phil, would you please let me talk? I don't want her interruption. You need to. This is the circus I don't want.
Tiny.
Do you not get that that's what happened?
What is the circus that you're
I don't
referring
want. I want to stop being interrupted. I can't talk, and I just don't want it.
Well,
I don't want a battle with her. I just really. If you want to hear what I have to say, then I just don't want to be. I don't want her to keep interrupting.
Well,
me.
she's not my daughter. I can't tell her what to do.
The thing is that that's what I did. I had both of her children until July of 2010.
Right.
And remember, Desiree was born in 2009, so February of 2009. So if I had both of those children and she refused to take Desiree back, I mean, what was I doing with her children if it wasn't that I was trying to help her? If I didn't, and you haven't been with us to know. She said we were trying to build a relationship. Do you not think that I took that step to say, look, I don't think you know how to have a relationship. I am so devastated by what has happened to you in your life. And I just sat here and told you, I don't blame her for how the things that she has struggled with, because I know it's because of her childhood, and I know I contributed to that. I have done that with her, Dr. Phil. You know what? I have a bachelor's degree. I'm almost done with a master's degree in social work. I have done a lot of work in children's behavior and human behavior, because I'm a survivor of my own stuff. And so the thing is that, I think you're really cutting me off and not giving me credit for all of the work that I've done and effort that I have done to try to help her as a mother.
What I'm thinking.
Well, that's just what I feel. No, I'm sure. I believe that. I don't think you're giving me credit. I think that.
Yeah.
I think you're not giving me credit for what I have done because you haven't seen it, and I know that's not something that you're going to be able to do in such a short time.
I think you're not being honest about one thing. I think when she asked for that baby back, you didn't give her back because you had fallen in love with that baby, and it broke your heart to think about her not being there with you.
Nope, you're wrong, though. But you're very wrong. I know that it sounds right because her name is Desiree, and I've lost my Desiree.
It doesn't have to do with the name.
Rebecca, please stop.
I wasn't thinking about that.
So absolutely ridiculous.
What I was thinking about.
Why would I not give her back and give the other one back? Because I had both of them.
No, you did not have both of them.
Rebecca, that's a lie.
You didn't want Aurora Kay because you don't like my oldest daughter. You don't like Aurora Kay.
You're lying.
No,
you are absolutely lying.
I am not lying.
Yes,
these are my kids, Deborah, and I don't care enough about you at this point to lie.
You are lying.
Can I ask you a question? It's just helping me sort this out. You said that you've got a bachelor's degree and almost have finished your degree in social work?
Master's in social work.
So
yes.
MSW? And I assume that's true. I've not looked at your transcripts, and I don't know what courses.
I would not lie to you, Dr. Phil.
I'm not sure what courses you haven't taken. But what I'm curious about is if you believe that she is a ridiculous, lying, unfit mother, why would you give back one of her children?
Well, let me tell you why. At that time, she was getting ready within 6 months to start Head Start. So she was going to be in a public schooling. And then she also, her biological father had come into her life. There was a safety net for her.
So was
worst
the child,
case scenario.
was that child better off in her home with her or better off with you?
Well, I didn't feel like she was better off either way. I didn't feel like she was going to be neglected to a point where somebody on the outside wouldn't see it.
It just seemed odd that if you think she's unfit, you'd give back one but not the other. You're
her
okay to
back,
go with an unfit, but you're not.
I gave her back to her with other people in her life. She had a boyfriend who lived in the house. That child's father was in her life. So you're wrong, Dr. Phil. It wasn't about, she was not a single mother when I gave her back. I think that because this is just a TV show, you're not really going to be able to understand me in depth, and that's fine.
Well, like you said, it's just a TV show.
Ready to get real? Go to drphil.com for advice on relationships, parenting, finances, and more. Plus, weigh in on your favorite episodes, share your stories, and find support in the Dr. Phil community. When you sign up for the community, you will automatically be subscribed to the Dr. Phil Show newsletter. Log on to drphil.com today. We can't do this show without you, our studio audience.
If you're going to be in the Los Angeles area and you would like free tickets, go to drphil.com and click on Be in the Audience.
Because we have a lot of fun here, don't we? Or you can call 323-461-PHIL. That's 323-461-7445.
In this case, where you have a vested interest, you might not be objective.
Well, I can totally respect that, Dr. Phil, and I think that because this is just a TV show, you're not really going to be able to understand me in depth, and that's fine. I understand that.
Well, like you said, it's just a TV show.
Well, not just a TV show, but it's a TV show where it just goes so fast. It's not like you lived with me to know how things have happened.
No, I understand.
And that's why this case really isn't really a good case for a TV show, because there's so many details and facts about it that it just makes it really hard.
It is quite complex, but
it is,
what I do know is that there's been very little rhetoric from either one of you about what truly is in the best interest of this child is at this point. Where she is in terms of hitting her developmental markers intellectually and emotionally. And I think that that's going to have to be determined, and I certainly hope that the court appoints an attorney ad litem here. I certainly hope that ad litem is active and gets an independent child psychologist and or psychiatrist to come in and evaluate everything going on with this child and the dynamic in each of your homes. And I'm going to have a really important recommendation to the two of you. If the two of you are smart, you will sit down and work out something that both of you can live with that allows this child to flourish with stability and love and consistency. Because when you put these matters into the hands of the court, you put these into the hands of a third party, it's basically going to be determined by somebody that just went to law school and decided to become a judge. And neither one of you present a very clear persona that is one you would want the court to embrace. I can assure you, you both have histories that cause you to come into question in terms of your ability to make proper judgments and properly nurture this child. Both of you have displayed conduct in this warfare that suggests that you're running your agenda at the expense of the child. neither one of you are going to play off very well in that situation. You are way better off to negotiate this privately between yourself and get the government out of your family.
That's what everyone says, is that there's such a hostility between us that it doesn't appear that we are able to even see what's in the best interest of the child.
I will offer to provide and bring in a professional and private mediator to sit down with the two of you and try to broker something to keep this family intact. Because I'm telling you, you go to court, you ain't going to like it.
Well,
it's just whichever one is going to like it the least. You better do this. Will you take that help if I offer it?
Well, I would absolutely take the help for them to help us communicate, absolutely.
Would you take that help?
Yes.
And you need to remember one thing, your agenda is what is best for this child. And hopefully it's some combination of the two of you with an understanding of what the objective and the agenda is. Mm-hmm. All right, we've got to stop. We're out of time. We'll be right back. Hey, Dr. Phil here. Did you know that more than 16 million kids in the U.S. are at risk of hunger each day? That's more than 1 in 5 children. Now, these are our neighbors, our kids that play in the neighborhood, co-workers, friends' children. The problem is closer than you would think, but so is the solution. Join me and visit feedingamerica.org/hunger to find your local food bank to help. I'm Dr. Phil, and together, we are Feeding America. Every situation needs a hero. Step up and be that for your child. If you're having trouble with a son or daughter and feel like you're running out of options, visit drphil.com to get 11 seasons of parenting advice. You can access articles, video, and action plans to help you be the best parent you can be. Well, our Twitter's blowing up as we're talking here. Jeanette Fuller says, family members need to work together for the benefit of the child. Fam Life Tidbit says, if they both love the girl so much, they'll find a way to come together and blanket her in love and care. Healed Heart says, salute to you, Mom, when you stepped up for your granddaughter. However, now it is time to release her to her mom. Those are just 3 of the examples of what's coming up. For more information on custody battles, go to drphil.com. There will be a lot of information there. I want to thank all of my guests for being here, and we'll see you next time. So long.